Welcome to The Explainer. I am so glad you're here today because we're looking at a game that has completely redefined virtual reality survival. Bootstrap Island was one of the most unique, uncompromising VR survival games to ever come out of early access. We're talking about being fully stranded on a deserted island, building your own tools by hand, and surviving some truly terrifying threats, all in deeply immersive first-person VR. Well, it is now officially out of early access, and with a major content update coming in Q2 2026, it's the perfect time to take stock of where this title actually stands.
Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to literally put yourself in the shoes of Daniel. He's a 17th century merchant and his ship has just been violently torn apart. You wash ashore on this breathtaking, but honestly deeply menacing tropical island, and it's completely overshadowed by an active, rumbling volcano. Your clothes are ruined, your supplies are completely gone, and, here's the real kicker, there is zero tutorial. No floating text telling you what to press. You are entirely on your own.
What exactly is Bootstrap Island?
So it was developed by a 15-person indie team called oVRview, and their philosophy is incredibly simple. No hand-holding, no guidelines, and no second chances. Before they even tackled this premium game, they actually spent years creating over 40 location-based VR installations. And that deep understanding of spatial presence, that is exactly what they brought to this unforgiving island. The atmosphere is just thick with uncertainty. During the day, you're out foraging and building shelter on these beautiful beaches, but every single night, without fail, prowling predators emerge from the dark. If you haven't prepared, you simply won't survive. It all comes down to your own real-world instincts.
Segment 2, Physics-Driven VR Survival.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the game actually plays. The whole thing is built around tactile, physics-first mechanics. You aren't just tapping a button on a Quest controller to make things magically appear, you are physically acting out every single step. Need a fire to survive the night? Well, there's no crafting menu. Step 1, you have to physically find and stack dry wood. Step 2, add some palm fronds for tinder. Step 3, grab 2 flint rocks and physically strike them together to catch a spark. It is a literal, hands-on process.
And that level of raw interaction ties directly into oVRview's ultimate vision. They wanted to create an experience so immersive that players literally forget they're in a virtual world. Just imagine the sheer panic of fumbling with a flintlock pistol in the pitch dark. You have to deliberately load the powder, pack the shot, and cock the hammer, all while a wild beast is actively charging at you. It's spatial computing at its absolute finest. When you compare traditional flat-screen survival games to Bootstrap Island, the contrast is just stark. On a flat screen, you press X to craft. In this VR experience, you're physically combining crude items with your own hands. This makes every hazard profoundly impactful. If you accidentally eat a poisonous plant or get caught in a storm, you suffer from sickness and reality-warping hallucinations that actually disorient your vision inside the headset. You can't get that from a monitor.
Segment 3, Hardware Realities and Why PC VR is Required. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room. Who is this game actually for? In a market that is largely shifted to casual, native, standalone mobile headsets, Bootstrap Island completely bypasses native mobile hardware. And there's a good reason for it. The game relies on incredibly demanding physical simulations. We're talking volumetric fire, dynamically shifting weather, complex liquid physics, dense foliage, and intricate animal behaviors. Mobile chipsets just cannot handle a realistic, systems-driven world where fire, water, and physics all interact dynamically. It's just too hardcore for casual standalone processing. So, the crucial point is that Bootstrap Island is strictly a high-fidelity PC VR title. Looking at the specs, it recommends an RTX 3080. But don't worry, if you're a Quest 3 or Quest 2 user, you can absolutely still play this. You'll just be doing it via PC streaming using Virtual Desktop or Steam Link. And honestly, playing a full survival game in extended standalone sessions this way works surprisingly well. The inventory system is super intuitive with the Quest controllers, though it definitely presents a physical comfort challenge if you play for hours on end.
Segment 4, the 1.0 release updates. Let's look at how the game has evolved since its early access days, leading up to its massive 1.0 full release in March 2026. The early access build was, a beautiful but punishing basic beach sandbox. But the 1.0 release added a staggering amount of depth, easily justifying the price bump to $27.99. They added local tribe interactions, where you use a talking stick and a wood sling to communicate and trade at newly added altars, and everything you do shapes whether your relationship with the natives is friendly or totally hostile. 4. That is the number of narrative chapters that now fully conclude Daniel's story. The 1.0 update brought a highly requested structured campaign, complete with cinematic cutscenes and professional voice acting. It finally tells us who Daniel actually was before the shipwreck, why he was voyaging in the first place, and what futures might await him on the island.
But, of course, with new narrative comes terrible new danger. The update unleashed some terrifying threats, like the Blood Challenger boss and a very mysterious shaman character. Luckily, players finally got the bow weapon to fight back. And hey, if the relentless roguelike loop is just a bit too much for you, they added a custom mode. Actually, scratch that. It's not just for making it easier. You can tailor the difficulty for a peaceful exploration session or an absolute brutal fight for your life. There's also a tasteful $4.99 ornate arms supporter pack if you want some cool weapon cosmetics and want to support the devs.
Segment 5. The Post-Launch Roadmap.
Mapping out the Castaway's trajectory here, we had the early access launch in February 2024, followed by 5 major community-driven updates that led us right to that March 2026 full release. But just because they hit 1.0 doesn't mean they're done, not even close. We've got a massive post-launch major update coming in Q2 2026, and later in the year, the highly anticipated PSVR 2 launch.
Now, what's really interesting about this Q2 update is the progression system. Alongside a new challenge mode with leaderboards, a refined inventory crate, and a completely new night hunting creature, unlocks will now be tied to your total cumulative days survived. This is a real game changer. It makes the roguelike loop so much less punishing because even if you die, the days you manage to survive will still help you unlock new tools for your next run. And for console players, this upcoming PSVR 2 port is going to be something special. MarchRVR is going all in on the headset's unique features to make this survival experience feel incredibly physically grounded. They're adding eye tracking for foveated rendering, which keeps graphics razor sharp, but the coolest part, headset haptic feedback during violent storms. Plus, the adaptive triggers will physically resist your fingers to simulate drawing your bow tension or the heavy mechanical recoil of your flintlock pistol. Absolutely wild.
So Bootstrap Island proves there is a huge, passionate audience for deep, uncompromising VR experiences that absolutely refuse to cut corners. It demands your full attention and your sharpest survival instincts. So, I have to ask you, have you tried Bootstrap Island in standalone mode via PC VR streaming yet? And honestly, seeing how well survival works when you actually have to use your own 2 hands, what gaming genre do you think desperately needs this premium VR treatment next? Let that sink in. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next explainer.